It wasn't polygamy that tore this family apart. It was silence, secrets, and a single court order. Inside a courtroom thick with betrayal, the sister wives now find themselves forced to testify against each other. And yet, one name is missing from the witness stand: Kody Brown. If you think you know how this story ends, you don't. Because before it's over, someone is going to break. And when they do, the entire family's foundation comes crashing down. So tell me in the comments, who do you think turns first? Let's see how many of you get it right. It all began on what should have been a quiet Flagstaff Sunday morning. Coffee brewing, Robyn wrangling the kids, Janelle tending her sourdough starter, Christine watching the autumn leaves fall, and Meri, as usual, walking alone. Then, 4 knocks, 4 doors, 4 envelopes, certified mail, each one identical, each one carrying a bombshell. You are hereby summoned to appear in the Arizona Superior Court. No reason, no plaintiff, no charges, just an ominous heading: family-based civil action. Internal complaint, and strangest of all, no mention of Kody. Not as a witness, not as a defendant, not even as a name on the page. That was the first red flag, and it lit the fuse. Christine said nothing. She just folded the letter, stood, and quietly began packing a bag. Janelle rushed to Robyn's house demanding answers, but Robyn only cried, clutching her children, insisting she knew nothing. Meri, she smiled. A strange, knowing smile that seemed to hide too much. At the courthouse, any illusion of unity was gone. No sister wives, no united front. Each woman arrived with her own lawyer. Then came Judge Celeste Harmon, a sharp, no-nonsense former federal litigator, the last person you'd want on your case if you had something to hide. The courtroom was dim, sterile, but humming with unspoken tension. It felt like the air before a thunderstorm ready to break. "This case is unusual," the judge began, her eyes scanning each woman in turn. "The plaintiff's identity is sealed for now, but the evidence you're about to hear will make it very clear who they are, and it may implicate more than one of you." Robyn's lip trembled. Christine crossed her arms. Janelle muttered something under her breath. Meri stared straight ahead, stone cold. Then, the twist. A monitor was wheeled in. A small gray speaker sat on the table. "We're starting with an audio file," Judge Harmon announced. It was submitted anonymously, but verified through forensic voice authentication. This is a private conversation recorded inside one of your homes. The room froze. Every breath stopped. Robyn shot up. "Your Honor, this can't be legal." "Sit down," the judge snapped. "You'll want to hear this." The static cleared. And then, his voice, Kody's voice, calm, smooth, icy. "If Christine flips, we'll invoke the asset clause. Robyn and I will stay covered. Janelle won't risk the kids. And Meri owes us. She won't defy the plan, but we need to move quickly." Robyn's face went pale. Christine whipped her head toward her, furious. "What scheme?" she demanded. Janelle rose, her voice shaking. "Robyn, what the hell is this?" Robyn couldn't answer. The recording pressed on. "If we retitle the properties quietly, we can shut them out. And if anyone sues, we'll release Meri's messages. That'll silence her." A gasp rippled through the courtroom. Meri's lawyer leaned in, whispering, but Meri didn't move a muscle. Her eyes didn't blink. Christine, though, was trembling, rage shaking her entire frame. She whispered to no one in particular. "He said he loved us. He made us believe in something. That audio was never meant to leave those walls, but now it echoed through the courtroom like a gunshot." The judge hit pause. "We'll continue this tomorrow. This is no longer just a civil inquiry." Robyn stumbled to her feet. "I didn't know. I swear, I didn't know." Christine brushed past her, cold. "You didn't say it, but you helped him do it." Janelle slammed her binder shut. I'm not going down for this. Not for either of you. The tension was alive, clawing at the walls. The judge lifted a hand. Before we recess, one of you will remain for sealed testimony. The rest are dismissed. Whispers exploded like wildfire. Christine Brown, the judge declared. Christine stiffened. The others were escorted out. She was left alone with the weight of every secret that had been dragged into the light. The judge studied her. You've been quiet so far, but that ends now. Christine's knuckles tightened around a tissue. Her voice, steady but burning with fury, broke the silence. That audio is not the only one. There are more. I've had copies for years. I never wanted to use them, but now I don't have a choice. The air shifted. Janelle slouched in her chair. Meri straightened her spine. Robyn clutched a silver cross in her hand. Christine's eyes burned. Kody didn't just scheme to cut us out financially. He wanted complete legal control over the kids, the real estate, even our voices, and Robyn, she knew. Robyn shot up, sobbing. That's a lie. I had no idea he recorded anything. Robyn's voice cracked, but the judge's gavel silenced her. You'll get your turn, Mrs. Brown. Christine nodded toward her attorney, who slid a second folder across the table. Another recording. Another secret ready to explode. This one, Christine said, wasn't a budget meeting, it was a blueprint. The speakers crackled. Then came Kody's voice, smug, rehearsed, disturbingly calm. We restructure everything under one LLC. I'll be the face, Robyn. You'll handle the taxes. The rest, they'll fold. They always do. Christine's too emotional. Janelle doesn't have the stomach, and Meri, she's desperate. We'll have control before they even know what they lost. Robyn's face collapsed as if she'd been slapped. Janelle went pale. Meri bit her lips so hard it bled. Christine's voice broke. He gambled with our lives, and we didn't even know it. And you, she turned sharply toward Robyn, you were playing at the table. Robyn shook her head, sobbing. I thought it was about protecting the family. I didn't know he'd twisted into this. The judge stayed silent, her eyes sharp, waiting. Christine pressed on. He told me one night that if any of us left, we'd walk away with nothing but the clothes on our backs. He meant it. The second clip played. This time, Kody's voice was low, secretive, like the walls themselves might overhear. Christine's starting to think for herself. That's dangerous. If we can get her to sign the settlement before she leaves, we're set. She won't even realize what she's giving up. The room erupted, gasps, whispers, the sound of betrayal snapping like a whip. Christine's hand shook. I signed that paper. I thought it was fair. I didn't know I signed away my share of the land. Silence followed. Not peace, pressure. Heavy, suffocating. Janelle leaned toward her lawyer. We need a forensic accountant immediately. Robyn tried to rise again, but the judge's glare pinned her in place. Finally, Meri spoke. Her voice was low, but sharp enough to cut glass. I told him to stop. I told him this would destroy everything. Christine's head snapped toward her. You knew, Meri hesitated. Not all of it, but enough, I thought. If I kept quiet, maybe it would pass. It didn't. Christine's eyes glistened. And you let him take everything from me? For a moment, they locked eyes, years of sisterhood crumbling into dust. They've been pushing for sole custody of their children while cutting any financial ties to the rest of ours. They accused us of moral instability in their filings. The judge scanned the papers, her face tightening. These were filed in another jurisdiction. Sealed. How did you obtain them? A friend at the clerk's office. She thought something felt off. Robyn shot to her feet, furious. Thank you for invading my privacy. You're digging where you don't belong. The judge's voice cut like steel. You don't get to play victim and villain at the same time, Mrs. Brown. Sit down. The judge cleared her throat. This court will demand a full audit of the Brown family holdings, effective immediately. A bailiff passed out paperwork, but the tension didn't lift, it spread like wildfire. Robyn whispered frantically to her lawyer, but he only shook his head. Then Janelle rose, voice sharp as a blade. Your Honor, I need to be heard. You're not on the docket today, Mrs. Brown. I don't care. This is bigger than dockets. The judge paused, then nodded. Approach. Janelle's heels echoed like a countdown as she marched forward. She pulled a manila envelope from her bag and handed it to the judge. There's something no one has mentioned, something I found out 2 weeks ago, custody. Kody and Robyn filed papers behind our backs. Christine froze. What? Turning to Janelle, she added, this changes everything. Christine was shaking now. They weren't just cutting us off financially. They were erasing us as mothers. Meri shut her eyes. The walls felt like they were closing in. The judge exhaled slowly, then dropped the hammer. This court is escalating. Effective today, this is no longer civil. We are opening a criminal inquiry, pending review of all submitted evidence. The room gasped as one. Christine slumped in her chair. Robyn whispered, No, this wasn't supposed to happen. But no one listened. No one cared. The truth was no longer optional. Janelle returned to her seat, the entire courtroom staring as if she had just detonated a bomb. Because she had. What began as a family dispute was now a legal inferno. Judge Harmon raised her voice above the murmurs. We are in uncharted territory, closed chambers. Next testimony. The media is barred. The audience cleared. The courtroom emptied, leaving only whispers trailing out the doors. Christine stayed alone again, but this time not as the victim. Now she was the fire starter. The judge leaned forward. Let's discuss what Kody asked of you regarding the night of the transfer. Christine's eyes sharpened. Are you sure? Because once I tell you, you can't take it back. The judge nodded. Christine inhaled deeply. Whatever she was about to reveal would change everything. The bailiff shut the doors. The courtroom sank into silence. Only Christine, Judge Harmon, and the ghosts of every secret left unspoken. Christine sat rigid, her hands clasped, her shoulders pulled tight like a bowstring. The judge's voice softened. Mrs. Brown, you said there was more. Something no one else knows. We're giving you the floor, say it. Christine let out a slow breath. Her voice trembled. At first, you asked about the transfer. Christine began, her throat tightening. I did it at night. Quiet. No lawyers. Just Kody, Robyn, and me. Her voice faltered. I was exhausted, broken. I just wanted peace. So when Kody slid that folder across the table and told me it was a formality, I signed it. But it wasn't a formality. It was everything. My share of the land, the business account, the trust, even the RV we bought together, all gone. By the time I realized, 3 weeks later, it had all been moved to a private entity, and who controlled that entity? Robyn. Her tears finally broke free. I kept my mouth shut because I thought maybe it was worth it, if it meant ending the fighting. If it meant he'd finally leave me in peace. But he didn't stop. He just got better at hiding it. The judge leaned forward. And the criminal aspect. Christine's fist clenched. That same night, he asked me to help with something that crossed a line. He said he needed to move family things. We drove to a storage unit, one I'd never seen before. No names, just numbers on boxes. He told me they were keepsakes, but when I looked inside, I saw burner phones, piles of cash, and a folder marked Crisis Protocol. The room stilled. The judge's pen stopped moving. The very air thickened. A crisis protocol file? Christine repeated, her voice hard. It didn't sound like family planning. It sounded like a mob playbook. Her hands trembled as she went on. He told me to load 2 boxes into a truck, registered to someone else. Said it was for protection. I didn't know what I was moving. I didn't want to know. He looked at me like I was a threat, not a wife. A liability. She broke, turning away in tears. I told him I was done, that I'd go public. And he laughed. He laughed in my face. He said, "No one will believe you. You're emotional. You're bitter. You're the ex-wife. I'm the father. I'm the steady one." And he was right. A part of me thought he'd win. Until today. Judge Harmon's face didn't move, but her silence was deafening. Finally, she asked, "Do you know where the money came from?" Christine shook her head. "But I know where it went." Robyn's name was on cashier's checks, tens of thousands at a time. I've seen them. A photo slid across the bench, Robyn at a bank smiling at the teller. "Where did this come from?" the judge asked. Christine's voice lowered. "A private investigator. Janelle hired him after she got a tax notice for a company none of us had ever heard of. Brown Family Holdings. That's when we started comparing notes. Me, Janelle. Even Meri. We found fake LLCs, wire transfers, just under reporting limits. Tax returns with Robyn's signature tied to 3 different states." Her voice shook, but her resolve hardened. "I stayed because I didn't want my kids growing up in a scandal. I thought I could shield them. But I see it now. Protecting them means telling the truth, even if it destroys everything left standing." The courtroom held its breath. "There's more," Christine whispered. "I have a recording. An accident. My phone was on during an argument between Kody and Robyn. I was in the bathroom crying. They didn't know I could hear." Her voice cracked. He told her, "If Christine takes this to court, we'll say she's crazy. We'll push custody. Use the counseling records." And Robyn said, "Isn't that unethical?" And Kody answered, "Only if we get caught." The judge's eyes narrowed, flashing. "Do you still have that recording?" "Yes," Christine nodded. "On a secure cloud. Janelle has a copy too." The judge turned to the bailiff. "Forensic examination. Immediately." Christine sagged back in her chair, spent. But then she lifted her chin again. "There's something else. A night I never told anyone about until now." The judge tilted her head. "Go on." Christine stared forward, eyes blazing through tears. "It was right after I left. Robyn came to me, crying. I thought maybe she finally understood, finally saw him for what he was. But instead, she begged me to let go of my shares. She said it was the only way to keep the peace. I asked why she was still protecting him, and she told me, because if Kody goes down, he'll take us all with him." The room fell silent, the kind of silence that makes walls shake. Christine's voice softened. "I think Robyn believed she was doing the right thing. I do, but somewhere along the line, protecting him became hiding him, enabling him, lying for him. And now, here we are." Judge Harmon clasped her hands. "You understand this could open you to investigation as well?" Christine nodded. "I've been ready since the day I left with nothing but the clothes on my back." The judge drew a steady breath. "This court is grateful for your courage, but make no mistake, we are only at the beginning." Christine stood, drained but unburdened, and just as she did, the doors burst open. Janelle rushed in, breathless, clutching a phone. "Your Honor, there's more?" The judge's eyes snapped to her. "What now?" Janelle's voice shook. "We just got a new file drop from the investigator. It's encrypted, but he included a screenshot." The judge frowned. "Of what?" Janelle held out the phone. "A bill from an attorney for a consultation on child emancipation." The judge's face darkened. "Who ordered this?" she demanded. Janelle's voice trembled, her complexion pale. "Robyn, on behalf of Kody, regarding my son." Christine froze, her heart lurching. Wait, what? Janelle nodded grimly. They were trying to sever his ties to me, to say I wasn't fit, to prove he'd be better off somewhere else. The petition is dated 2 weeks before Kody called me, pretending everything was fine. The judge slammed her gavel twice, the sharp cracks echoing. Court adjourned until tomorrow. This case is escalating. Prepare your counsel. Christine and Janelle exchanged a glance. Not just allies now, but warriors fighting for survival. As they left the courtroom, chaos swirled in the hallway. Meri paced with her phone pressed to her ear, tears streaking her face. Robyn sat alone on a bench, head buried in her hands, sobbing the press hadn't even touched this yet. And already it felt like a scandal, a decade in the making. Christine's phone buzzed as she passed through the security gate. An unknown number 4. Words glowed on the screen. You think you're safe? She whipped her head up, scanning the crowd. No one looked back, except for one man, dark sunglasses, brown leather jacket, a briefcase too slim to be ordinary. He cut through the crowd like he didn't belong and didn't care who noticed. Christine stiffened instantly. The message still pulsed on her phone. Janelle stepped in front of her. Do you know him? Christine shook her head. Number, but I recognized that walk. The man never slowed. He reached them, slipped a creased envelope into Christine's jacket pocket without breaking stride, then disappeared into the parking garage, as if trained for it. Janelle's breath caught. Open it. Not here, Christine whispered. They sprinted to the car, shut the doors, and tore open the envelope inside. Screenshots of bank accounts, a custodial change form, and a single typed document. Robyn Scott, private agreement, contingency, C9. Christine gasped. This is dated 6 months before the family split. Janelle's hands shook as she scanned it. They already planned to cut us out. A secret contract filed under a Nevada shell company, signed by Kody and Robyn. If any wife tried to leave, all assets would automatically transfer into a trust under Robyn's name within 72 hours. None of us even knew it existed. Christine's voice cracked. They weren't protecting the family. They were protecting themselves. Janelle reached into her glove box and pulled out her own folder. I didn't show this before. I wasn't sure it mattered. But now, inside were records of wire transfers, thousands upon thousands of dollars. Family money meant for groceries, school fees, even legal help for Meri's daughter. Funneled straight into Robyn's personal account, her voice rose in anger. We trusted him. We believed the family fund was sacred, but the family was gone long before we knew it. When the hearing resumed, Christine stood first. Your Honor, I have urgent new evidence. The judge read the document slowly, her eyes narrowing. This changes everything. Robyn bolted upright, agitated. Your Honor, those papers were confidential. They weren't meant for court. They are now, the judge snapped, because they involve jointly owned assets and potential criminal fraud. Christine's voice cut sharp as ice. He tricked me into signing papers while this contingency plan was already in play. They were transferring money even while we lived under the same roof. The judge turned to Robyn. Did you and Mr. Brown create a private relocation plan for assets while still receiving household support? Robyn's lips trembled. Kody handled the legal work. I just signed what he gave me. And you did sign? Yes, she whispered. Christine's body leaned forward, trembling with fury. She hugged me when I left, as if it mattered, but she already had it all. My home, my children's funds, my future. Robyn's sobs filled the courtroom, her face blotched and swollen. I didn't know it would come to this. Janelle rose. Your Honor, Robyn and Kody diverted over $200,000 of our shared funds. They also purchased property, a cabin outside Sedona. using money Kody claimed was for a family vacation. The deed isn't in the trust. It's not even in his name. It belongs to Robyn's sister. A gasp ripped through the courtroom. The judge snapped at her clerk. Pull every real estate holding linked to the Browns or Robyn's family. Robyn sagged in her chair, her lies unraveling one by one. Christine's voice cut through the silence. You didn't just betray us. You tried to erase us, Robyn whimpered. It wasn't my idea. But you let it happen, Janelle shot back. The judge lifted the contingency agreement. This clause, seizing assets within 72 hours, proves intent premeditation. She set it on the table with finality. We are now entering formal criminal review. A financial crimes investigator will join us tomorrow. Effective immediately, all personal accounts are frozen. Robyn's face drained of color. No, my children, our home. Consult your attorney. The judge cut her off coldly. Janelle's fists clenched. We never wanted this. But it was too late. Christine's voice dropped to a growl, low and steady. We wanted truth, but you left us no choice. He convinced you that you were special, Robyn, but all he really did was use you to destroy us faster. The courtroom had become a graveyard of secrets. Robyn's sobs were the only sound cutting through the silence. That's when the clerk rushed forward with a sealed envelope. Direct delivery, Your Honor, marked urgent. Judge Harmon scowled, slicing it open with careful precision. Her eyes scanned the first lines, and her expression shifted, sharp with alarm. Where did this come from? Anonymous courier, the clerk replied. But verified, chain of custody included. The judge raised it high for all to see. This is a sworn affidavit from someone close to Kody Brown, and it details a second deal. Christine's stomach lurched. A second deal. Yes, the judge confirmed grimly. A backup plan, negotiated in case the first scheme collapsed. Contingency G. The room froze. The judge continued. It describes that if Christine or Janelle spoke publicly, Kody would fake a medical crisis, flee to another state, and become legally untouchable. Meanwhile, control of Robyn's trust would quietly pass to a proxy. Outside us jurisdiction. Christine's mouth went dry. He was planning to disappear. The judge nodded. This isn't just a family dispute anymore. This is an operation. Her chair scraped back as she stood. Effective immediately, this is a federal case. I am issuing a request to Homeland Security and the IRS for a full asset trace, fraud audit, and tax investigation. And you, she turned to the wives, may require protection, Janelle whispered, barely audible. He's already gone, isn't he? Judge Harmon snapped to the bailiff. File an immediate location order. Kody Brown is to be detained for questioning. Approach only with backup. But before anyone could breathe, the double doors slammed open. A man in a dark suit stormed in, credentials flashing. Judge Harmon, I'm Agent Ree, Federal Financial Crimes. You need to see this. He held up a flash drive. We intercepted an email sent just hours ago from Kody Brown to an encrypted recipient. Subject line, Initiate Plan Z. The courtroom went utterly still. Even Robyn's tear-swollen face flickered with shock. Plan Z, he was joking about that, she stammered. Christine's face hardened. He never jokes. He plants bombs and smiles while he does it. The judge gestured. What's on the drive? Video files. Audio logs, legal scans, travel bookings under Robyn's name. One of them is for tonight, a private jet destination unknown. Christine nearly collapsed. He's leaving right now. Agent Ree's jaw tightened. And there's more. The flight manifest. 3 seats booked, Kody, Robyn, and a minor. The wives' breath caught. Solomon, Robyn gasped. But before anyone could speak, Another figure shifted in the back of the courtroom. A man who had been silent all day. Charcoal suit, no tie, posture military straight, with a thin leather folder resting against his hand. He had gone unnoticed. Until now, when Judge Harmon announced the next session, he rose and walked forward without waiting to be called. Every eye followed him. He stopped at the front and spoke, his voice calm, deliberate. Madam Judge, my name is Cole Mercer, licensed private investigator, retained by a confidential client linked to this case. He opened his folder. I have spent 14 months embedded in the Brown family's financial and social trail. Today, I present my findings. The air thinned to a blade of silence. Beggin, the judge ordered. Cole laid out the first piece, more than $230,000 diverted from joint accounts, funneled into three names: Robyn Brown, her sister Aurora, and a shell company, Only Lighthouse Pathways, Inc. Through it, they purchased a private cabin, covered personal debt, and funneled regular sums just under $10,000 to a backup bank account in Utah. Janelle flinched. That's the same P.O. box we used for homeschooling materials. Cole nodded. It was repurposed without your consent. Robyn buried her face in her hands. Christine's jaw dropped. He used everything, she whispered. Cole pressed on. Surveillance next, we tracked Kody via drone footage, text timestamps, and card swipes at multiple legal offices across Utah, Arizona, and Nevada, two specialized in sovereign citizenship, strategies for individuals seeking to escape federal jurisdiction. The judge's expression tightened, not surprised anymore, only enraged. Cole continued. Finally, the encrypted communications, we infiltrated a Telegram account under the alias Patriarch 77. Messages included phrases like Stage 3 fallback ready and Plan Z initiates if J or C go public. The judge leaned forward. Can you prove who sent them? Cole's tone was steady. Yes, each message required fingerprint authentication. The phone belonged to Kody Brown. Robyn gasped, shaking her head violently. No, that's not possible. But the evidence was undeniable. No, he wouldn't do that. Robyn's voice cracked. Desperate, Cole didn't flinch. His gaze stayed locked on her. He already has, and deep down, you knew it. Her eyes welled up. I didn't, I swear. I didn't. He said it was just planning. Worst case scenarios. He never promised he'd actually. Her words broke apart, too fragile to finish. Cole pressed forward. There's a timeline. A countdown. 90 days. It started the very day Christine walked away, and tomorrow it ends. The judge straightened. Explain. Cole didn't hesitate. Kody's plan was simple but ruthless. Disappear with Robyn and their biological kids, cut off all digital and legal contact, and leave the rest of you behind, labeled as unstable, abusive, or financially reckless. He even drafted false statements for Robyn to sign. Pre-dawn lies designed to gaslight the courts into believing every word. Janelle leaned toward Christine, whispering, he wanted to erase us. Christine's voice was like broken glass. He nearly succeeded, but Cole wasn't finished. He opened his laptop. There's more audio files, may I? The judge gave a sharp nod, a click, and Kody's voice slithered through the speaker's cold, calculated. They'll never notice. They're too busy tearing each other apart. When I disappear, they'll call it closure. They'll be thankful I'm gone. Robyn buried her face in her hands. He recorded that. Christine shot to her feet, trembling with rage. Every word I told you, he isn't just selfish, he's strategic. Cole closed the file. Then he delivered the blow no one expected. I wasn't hired by Christine, or Janelle, or even Meri. My client stayed anonymous. Until last night. That client was Aurora Brown. Robyn froze. Aurora, she's just a kid. Not anymore, Cole replied firmly. She's 23. She worked with Kody briefly, saw more than she should have, and when she stumbled across one particular line in his secret messages, if a talks, she disappears too. She came to me, terrified. She had evidence, she backed it up, and today she gave me permission to bring it all forward. The courtroom inhaled sharply. The judge wasted no time. All of it goes to federal review. Cole sat down, but the storm wasn't over. The judge turned her eyes on Robyn. You co-signed funds. You witnessed transactions. You controlled accounts as of now. Your assets are frozen, effective immediately. You're no longer just a witness. You're a person of interest. Robyn slumped, pale as paper, whispering. He promised it would never come to this. Christine and Janelle gathered their things, walking out heavy with exhaustion. Meri lingered, her eyes locked on Cole. You've been watching us for more than a year, she said, her tone sharp as ice. Yes, Cole replied. Then you already know what I did. The words dropped like a hammer. Christine and Janelle froze. The room fell into silence. Meri faced the judge. I can't wait until next week. I need to confess now, before someone else drags it out. Her voice trembled. I didn't just discover the asset transfers, I signed one of them. Christine's gasp cut through the air. You what? Tears rolled down Meri's cheeks. I didn't know what it was back then. Kody told me it was a restructuring to protect us from tax issues. He said it had to be in Robyn's name. He told me if I didn't sign, we could all go to jail. Janelle stepped forward, anger raw in her voice. And you didn't come to us. You didn't say a word. I was ashamed, Meri whispered. I thought I was helping. I didn't want to lose the little I had left of myself. Christine's fury was thunder. You helped him destroy us. Meri collapsed to her knees, sobbing. I didn't know. I swear, I didn't know. Cole rose again. She's telling the truth. We have footage of Kody coaching her, telling her exactly what to say if questioned. He used her the same way he used all of you. But it was too late. The damage was done. The judge slammed her gavel. Enough. Court is adjourned. Depositions begin tomorrow. This case is moving forward into full criminal proceedings. Christine turned to Cole, her eyes sharp. What happens next? His voice was weary. Next, we determine who gets indicted. But the day wasn't done. A messenger delivered another sealed envelope, this one addressed to Meri. She opened it with shaking hands inside. A single line, you were always the last to know. Don't be the last to run. Her face drained of color. Kody wasn't in the courtroom, but his presence was everywhere. That very night, flames devoured the cabin in Sedona. Surveillance cameras captured only a shadowed figure limping away in a black hoodie, something small in his hand, a toy, a stuffed dinosaur, one that used to sit on Solomon's bed. Meri sat alone in her darkened living room, the glow of fire flickering across her screen. No sirens, no words, just the certainty that Kody had sent her a message, a warning. But what he didn't know was that Meri had been preparing too. Yes? She'd been quiet, obedient, the one who clung too long to a dead marriage, but betrayal had burned that weakness out of her. What remained was harder, colder, and now with her own hands stained by signatures she could never take back. She was left with one choice: keep covering for him, or burn everything down. And this time, she held the gasoline. The next morning, Meri walked into court alone. No lawyer, no allies. Christine and Janelle sat across from her, their eyes demanding one thing. Prove you're not one of them. The judge called the court to order. But Meri didn't wait. She stood tall. Your Honor, she said flatly, her voice carrying across the silent room. Meri rose slowly, steadying her breath. Your Honor, I'd like to waive representation for today's session. I'm ready to give sworn testimony about everything I did, every transfer, every signature, every mistake. The courtroom froze. Even the judge blinked in surprise before leaning forward. Proceed. Meri's hands trembled as she began. 16 months ago, Kody told me Christine was getting slippery, he said. She was prying too much, and if we didn't act fast, the whole family would collapse. He never used those exact words, but that's what he meant. She paused, inhaled sharply. He showed me the papers, transfers, trusts, notices. He said signing them would protect us all. I was scared, so I signed twice. And when he told me to burn the copies, that's when I knew something was wrong. Her voice cracked but didn't break. I asked why Robyn's name was on everything, but not Janelle's, not Christine's. He said fewer names made things cleaner. He said if things ever went bad, he could claim we were never legally wives, just spiritual unions. Christine's jaw clenched. Janelle looked away. Meri's eyes glistened. I knew it was wrong, but I wanted to matter so badly. I thought if I did something for him, he'd finally see me, not the invisible one, not the leftover. The room exhaled as one, a heavy, collective ache. Meri wasn't just exposing Kody, she was exposing her own broken self, the part that once shielded him. She pressed on. He told me if anything ever surfaced, I should claim I didn't know what I was signing, that I'd been deceived, and while that was true, I also knew better. I just didn't want to admit it. With shaky hands, she reached into her purse and pulled out a flash drive. This has audio. An October night, Kody, Robyn, and me. He didn't realize my phone was recording. In it, he explains how to send emergency money, how to fake ignorance under oath, and how to keep me in line by threatening to release an old voicemail I left years ago. He laughed about it. The judge accepted the drive, her face stony. Why didn't you bring this sooner? Meri's shoulders slumped. Because some part of me still hoped that maybe he'd come back, that he'd apologize. Choose me? And in that single sentence, the courtroom was reminded of every woman who'd ever waited too long to stop the hurt. Her voice firmed. I would have let them hate me. I'd have carried that weight. But after the fire, after that message, I realized Kody wouldn't stop, not until one of us was destroyed. The judge nodded once. This will be entered into discovery immediately. The bailiff carried the drive out. Janelle rose. May I ask Meri one question? Permission granted. Janelle's voice cut clean. Why didn't you warn us? Meri swallowed hard. Because I was ashamed, because I didn't think I deserved your forgiveness. Christine's voice was sharp. You don't, not yet, but maybe this is a beginning. The judge tapped her gavel. Court will recess for 1 hour. When we return, we will review new evidence from investigator Cole Mercer. The gallery emptied, but Meri stayed behind. Her phone buzzed. One unread message. No number. Just 4 chilling words. You were warned. She stared at it, then deleted it. Not because she was afraid, but because Kody's words no longer owned her. Outside, Cole was waiting. You did the right thing, he said softly. Too late, Meri answered. Not for everyone, he replied. We may still be able to stop him. Meri frowned. Stop him from what? Cole handed her a printed photo, a forged passport, Kody's face, different hair. New name, a one-way ticket to Honduras. He's preparing to vanish, but he still needs 2 things, access to the offshore account and one last release signature from someone tied to the original trust. Meri's eyes narrowed. Let me guess, me. Cole nodded. She laughed bitterly. Of course I am. Leaning closer, Cole's tone sharpened. But you're also the one he'll never expect to betray him. That's your power. Meri's voice turned to ice. Then let's use it, because sometimes the one they underestimate the most is the one who flips the whole game. That evening, Meri met Christine and Janelle in an abandoned community center. She laid out every file, every recording, every copy she'd made. "I'm not asking for your trust," she said, "just the chance to repair what I broke." Janelle scanned the files. "This will freeze his last accounts," Christine added, "and block the flight if we move fast." Meri's hands shook. "Then let's move." Headlights swept across the windows, a black SUV federal agents. They took the evidence, handed Meri a burner phone, and gave her final instructions. "If he calls, keep him on the line. We'll trace everything." At 2:13 a.m., the phone rang. Kody's voice was unnervingly calm. "Hey, we need to talk." Meri steadied herself. "About what? Tidying things up about us? We can still walk away from this whole, but I need one more thing. One signature. Then it's over." Meri's voice stayed even. "Where?" He hesitated. "Semi places last time, you remember?" "I remember," she whispered. "Give me 1 hour." The trace was secured. Agents gave her the nod. Meri turned to Christine and Janelle, her voice steady as steel. "Let's go get him." But when court reconvened the next morning, a new tension filled the air. Judge Harmon stepped in, flanked by Cole Mercer, whose whisper in her ear made her expression tighten. She looked out over the gallery. Her voice was sharp as steel. "Today, the court will hear testimony from a new witness. Until now, her identity has been protected, but she has chosen to step forward." The doors opened. Robyn's face went white before the woman even entered. A long black coat, heels clicking across the floor, a silence so heavy it felt like a secret finally breaking open. The hood was lowered. "My name is Belle Mathers," she declared. "Former assistant to Robyn Brown, once her friend, now her informant." Robyn staggered, her voice barely audible. "No, she doesn't know anything." But Christine, Janelle, and Meri all leaned forward. They remembered her, the babysitter, the errand runner, the shadow in the background of every meeting they were never invited to. She had been there all along, watching, listening, collecting. Belle lifted her chin. "I worked side by side with Robyn between 2017 and 2021. I managed her schedule. I handled her legal prep. I archived communications, including the ones I was ordered to delete. I didn't delete them." Gasps rippled through the courtroom. Her voice steadied. One night, late in 2020, Robyn opened an email from Kody. Belle's voice cut through the courtroom like glass. I saw her open the email. She read it, laughed, and said, "We'll never have to deal with Christine again." The room stiffened. Christine's breath caught. Her jaw locked. Belle continued. "I asked what she meant," Robyn told me. "This paper covers us legally. Christine can go, but she'll go with nothing." Robyn shot to her feet, furious. "Lies, all lies," she screamed. The judge slammed the gavels. "Sit down, Mrs. Brown, or you'll be removed." Robyn froze. Belle didn't even flinch. She pressed forward. "I was then instructed to start cataloging everything. Homes, cars, accounts, the assets Christine and Janelle had access to." Robyn called it Phase 2. When I asked what that meant, she told me, "That's when we lock in the future, with or without them." The air in the courtroom shifted. Belle wasn't just throwing daggers, she was setting off explosives. "I kept copies of it all," she declared. "Emails, bank statements, screenshots, everything." Kody always said, "If the women fracture, choose one, let the rest burn." And he chose Robyn. Cole Mercer pulled a flash drive from his pocket and placed it before the judge. This contains verified evidence of everything Miss Mathers has stated. The judge accepted it without a word. Robyn's face drained of color. Her voice shook. She has a grudge. She's lying, Belle smirked. Number I quit. You begged me to stay, Robyn, because you knew I was the only one who could manage the storm you two created. Christine stood, trembling with rage. Is any of this connected to the Children's Trust Fund? Belle's eyes sharpened. Yes, that trust was drained within 6 months of Christine leaving. The money was funneled through Robyn's sister into a shell company, Silver Sky Holdings. And here's the real twist. The beneficiary wasn't Robyn at all. It was Solomon. Gasps echoed through the room. Janelle whispered, horrified. They used their son as a shield. Belle's gaze didn't waver. They weaponized everything. Love, money, loyalty, even their own children. Robyn collapsed back into her chair, rocking, muttering, "You're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong." But no one was listening anymore. Belle delivered the final blow. Kody had a backup plan. He called it Plan Z. He wrote it in a red notebook, hidden behind a false wall in the Sedona cabin. I saw it once before he moved it. Cole stepped forward. We have photographs of the cabin before the fire. The false wall existed. Burn marks prove it was forced open the night of the blaze. The judge's brow arched. Are you saying Mr. Brown tampered with evidence? Cole's nod was grim. Yes, but not before he backed it up. Present the copies immediately, the judge ordered, and call federal authorities. This reeks of obstruction. Robyn leapt up again, fists clenched. You can't. He was protecting us. He loved us, Christine erupted, her voice shaking with fury. He didn't love us. He loved control. He loved obedience, but love he never knew what that was. Meri's whisper followed, low and haunted. He didn't even love himself. The courtroom was no longer heavy with betrayal. It was drowning in grief, raw and exposed. Belle stepped down from the stand. I'm not a hero, she said softly. I just couldn't keep living knowing I stayed silent while he destroyed everyone. And then the door slammed open. A clerk rushed in, holding an envelope. This was just delivered. No return name. No courier information. The judge tore it open, eyes scanning the page. Her face shifted. Everyone remained seated. This has escalated into an active threat situation. The courtroom froze. The letter read, if you continue this path, there will be consequences. The court has one chance to dismiss all charges and shut this inquiry down, or something bigger than a cabin will burn. Christine gasped. Janelle jumped to her feet. Meri went pale. Belle's voice cut through the fear. That's not a threat. It's a promise, and it's not the first one. The judge's voice turned to ice. Seal the building. No one leaves until we know who sent this. Robyn whimpered. He wouldn't hurt anyone. But no one believed her. Not now. The judge turned, her words deliberate, sharp as a blade. Robyn Brown, you are now under investigation for conspiracy to defraud, destruction of evidence, and accessory to organized evasion. Gasps shattered the silence, and just as the gavel dropped, Cole's phone buzzed. A message, 3 chilling words from an unknown number, the girl knows. Belle's eyes widened. It's starting. Outside, just 2 blocks away, a black SUV sat waiting. Inside, a man with a shaved head and mirrored sunglasses lifted his phone. It's time, he said coldly. Initiate Plan Omega. By dawn, the courthouse was surrounded. Federal agents at every exit, black SUVs idling in the shadows, radios buzzing with tension. This wasn't just a family imploding anymore. It was a full-scale operation. The judge entered under armed escort, her robe no longer just a symbol of justice, it was armor. Christine and Janelle sat frozen, eyes forward. Meri's hands clenched around the burner phone the agents had given her. Robyn shuffled in last, flanked by U.S. Marshals, her face streaked with tears. Around her neck, she still wore a silver chain, a medallion engraved with her children's names, and hidden inside the locket, a micro SD card. The judge brought the room to order. Due to ongoing threats, this session is sealed, federally monitored, and protected. We will now examine the evidence recovered from the Sedona fire. Cole Mercer rose. Your Honor, inside the hidden panel, we found a charred lockbox. Within it, a waterproof pouch, handwritten journals, passwords, contracts, and one encrypted thumb drive. The screen lit up, a single folder appeared. Trust, Fay Mega Fay Master. Inside were files labeled LLC Fay Pass, Janelle Christine, Meri Fay Payout Projections, and one chillingly titled, Rob Fay Deflect. The judge leaned forward. Play the first audio file. A click. Then Kody's voice filled the chamber, cold, calculated, almost mechanical. If you're hearing this, it means one of them broke. Most likely Christine. She always had the biggest mouth. Doesn't matter. Plan Omega begins at breach. Asset migration goes live. Robyn has the code. She knows what to do. Get the kids safe. Make Meri talk first. If Christine testifies, isolate Janelle. If Janelle makes a move, drain the LLC. No trace. No apologies. Just vanish. The courtroom froze. The judge's gaze shifted. Razor sharp. Mrs. Brown, do you have the access key mentioned here? Robyn's lips quivered. I don't know anymore. Christine shot up, voice firm. She does. It's in the locket, the necklace. I saw him give it to her the day I left. The marshals moved in. Robyn recoiled, clutching the chain. No, please. It's just pictures of my children. But when they snapped open the locket, a tiny micro SD card fell into a marshal's palm. Chain of custody was declared. Evidence sealed. Robyn crumpled, sobbing. I didn't know what was on it. I never thought it would go this far. I thought he was protecting us. The judge's voice rang out like thunder. You weren't protecting the family. You were protecting the money, and you knew it. The card was decrypted. Inside were backups, financial ledgers, encrypted chats, and recordings, some from Kody, others from Robyn herself. The speakers crackled, and Robyn's panicked voice filled the room. Kody, I can't lie on the stand. I'll break. They'll see through me. What if they take the children? Then Kody's voice replied, smooth, cold, and terrifyingly calm. Kody's voice echoed coldly from the recording. They won't. You're the legal wife, Robyn. They'll side with you, the others. They're just spiritual remnants. Act like a victim. Cry. It always works. Christine's hand tightened around the table edge. Janelle couldn't bring herself to look up. Meri didn't flinch at all. The pain wasn't just betrayal anymore. It was the erasure of every memory they thought was real. Then the final folder appeared on the decrypted drive. Exit FATAs inside, travel reservations, border, crossing procedures, and a photograph, Kody's face, a non-use passport. The name David Luntz. Cole's voice cut the silence. That alias has already shown up in overseas banking records tied to buys, then Honduras. We believe he's already operating out of Central America. The judge rose from the bench, her words slicing through the room. This is now federal. Kody Brown will be charged as a fugitive in an active financial conspiracy. Her eyes turned to Robyn, sharp as steel. Robyn Brown, you are hereby indicted for conspiracy, suppression of evidence, and aiding the flight of a suspect. Robyn's scream rang out. No, please. I didn't flee. I stayed. I helped. I told the truth. Christine's voice cracked back at her, blazing with fury. You told your truth, the truth that kept you rich and comfortable, while the rest of us were discarded like garbage. The judge's voice was merciless. You will be held in custody, awaiting trial. Your children will be placed under emergency guardianship pending review. Robyn collapsed, wailing. No, my babies, don't punish them for his sins. The judge's stare didn't waver. Perhaps you should have considered that before helping him ruin 3 families and gamble away their futures. The marshals dragged Robyn out, her screams fading down the hallway, the empire she had clung to, gone in an instant. But the nightmare wasn't over. Cole Mercer rose again, a final sheet in his hand. There's one more document, a handwritten note in Kody's own hand, titled Final Leverage. It mentions another woman, a woman not listed in any of the records, media, or court documents. We believe she may have had a child with him. Christine gasped. Janelle's hand shot to her mouth. Meri leaned forward, breath shaky. No, she whispered. He didn't. Cole nodded grimly. There's no birth certificate, no legal record, but there is a name, Lena Callister, a housekeeper who worked briefly for the Browns in Las Vegas. She disappeared in 2014. The room froze. Christine's voice broke. He told us she left, said she got married and moved to Wyoming. Cole shook his head. That was the lie. In reality, Lena filed for a restraining order against Kody that same year. It was dropped for lack of evidence, and then she vanished. The judge leaned back, frowning heavily. Where is she now? We don't know, Cole admitted, but someone tried to hack into her sealed case file recently from a secure IP tied to Kody's shell company. The Browns weren't just untangling lies anymore. They were peeling back layers of a man who had built an entirely second life beneath the ashes of the first. The judge's voice was grave. Until Lena is located, this case remains open. There may be more victims, more secrets, possibly even another heir. Christine shut her eyes, tears streaking her cheeks. How many lives did he ruin just to build his twisted version of love? Meri's voice was flat. It was never love, it was legacy, his own warped kind. And then, the bailiff entered with a sealed package, no return address inside, a USB stick, a note. You want answers, watch me. The agents prepared it for display, but Christine stepped forward. Play it now, before this poison spreads any further. The screen lit up, a grainy video appeared, a hotel room. Kody Brown, hair pulled back, beard unkempt, eyes wild. He stared straight into the lens. By now, you've made your choice. That's fine. Just remember, I didn't run because I was guilty. I ran because I knew what you'd become. Traitors, backstabbers, weak. You never saw the big picture. You were never part of it. You were tools. And when tools break, they get replaced. He leaned closer, a smile flickering across his face. But go ahead. Try to break me. I dare you. Just know, every secret you think you've uncovered, I left it there on purpose. Because I'm not finished. And neither is she. He smirked. See you in court. The screen went black. But the silence that followed wasn't shock. It was dread, because Kody Brown wasn't running from justice. He was orchestrating it, twisting it, and somewhere, someone was still helping him. The judge's courtroom was no longer a courtroom. It was a war room, a fortress under siege. And in the shadows, the name Lena Callister hung like a storm cloud, perhaps the final strand in a web too dark to untangle. The next morning, Judge Harmon entered not in her robe, but a black blazer and an earpiece clipped sharp against her jaw. Her words were blunt. We have a breach. Someone inside this building is leaking information directly to Kody Brown. The room stiffened. Cole held up a file stamped confidential Fay Priority Echolock. We traced the breach to a burner phone. 5 devices were active in the restricted wing at the time. 4 belonged to court staff. The 5th belonged to someone here. The judge gave the order. Bring her in. The side door creaked. A young woman stepped inside, barely in her 20s, hidden under a hoodie and ball cap. Christine squinted. Janelle gasped. Is that? Cole's voice cut in. Yes, this is Aurora Sullivan, Robyn's niece, the real one. Gasps rippled across the courtroom from the holding chamber. Robyn's voice broke into a sobbing cry. Aurora pulled her hat off, voice soft but unwavering. I was the tip caller, but not the one feeding Kody. I was reporting him to the DOJ. The last tip I sent was about Lena. The judge's eyes sharpened. Explain. Aurora swallowed hard, trembling. I lived with Robyn back in 2014, when Lena worked for us. I was just a teenager, but I saw things that didn't add up. Lena cried in the laundry room more than once. Kody whispered to her when Robyn wasn't around, and then one night, she was gone. Christine's breath hitched. The ghost of the woman they had all forgotten now loomed before them. Aurora pulled a flash drive from her pocket. She left this in an old Bible in the guest room. I was too scared to touch it then, but after everything, I finally looked. Cole received it, scanned it, projected it on the screen. One folder, one video, one letter. The video opened. Lena's face appeared, nervous, frightened, sitting on a narrow twin bed. Her voice shook. If you're watching this, something's happened to me. This is my testimony. My baby is real. Kody is the father. He told me it would ruin everything if people knew. He gave me money to leave, said if I came back, I'd regret it. I changed my name. I moved states, but he's still watching. I know he is. And if this video is seen, someone must protect my son. The courtroom froze. Christine's pulse thundered. He has another child, and she vanished to keep him safe. The judge ordered the video stopped. Then Cole lifted the letter, creased and smudged with a nervous hand. Lena documented everything, dates, conversations, threats. Enough to finally, she had proof, real, undeniable proof. Receipts, travel itineraries, ultrasound bills, hospital records under a false name, even DNA tests that were ordered but never filed. Every document pointed to one chilling fact. Kody Brown had a hidden child, and he hadn't done it alone. On the very last page was something more alarming. A map marked in red ink. A small Colorado town circled with 3 words that made the entire courtroom lean in. River's Edge Middle School. Aurora's voice cracked as she whispered. She's been living there under the name Dana. Her son's name is Caleb. The judge snapped toward Cole. Get agents there immediately, quietly. Aurora stepped back, her hands shaking. I should have come forward sooner, but I was terrified. If I helped, I thought he'd come for me next. Meri moved toward her, voice softer than anyone expected. You did what you had to do. You did it when you could. But before the relief could settle, the bailiff rushed forward with a faxed page. The judge tore it open and read aloud, each word heavy with menace. Nest try, but you're 2 steps behind. Dana already knows, and she's not who you think she is. You're playing the wrong game. Christine slammed her hand on the table. He's still ahead of us. He knows every move. Cole's expression hardened. Then this isn't just evasion anymore. This is counterattack. The atmosphere shifted instantly. Kody wasn't hiding. He was fighting back. The judge ordered the courtroom sealed. All travel logs, addresses, and witness files were classified on the spot. Aurora Sullivan was placed in protective custody, honored for her courage but shielded for her safety. She wept as she whispered, I just want him to stop hurting people. Christine's reply cut through the silence. So do we. That same afternoon, federal agents descended on River's Edge, Colorado. They found her. The woman once known as Lena, now calling herself Dana, had been living quietly, teaching art. The boy, Caleb, matched both the age and DNA, but before agents could make contact, Lena vanished into the woods with her son. She left behind a handwritten note that shook the room when read aloud. I know what this is. I know you're watching. If you find me, tell Christine. I'm sorry. Tell Meri I forgive her. Tell Janelle I never blamed her, but I will not let him take Caleb. The judge's face was grim. She's not just hiding. She's terrified of what happens next. Cole leaned forward, voice low but steady. He must have warned her, or someone else did it for him. All eyes turned toward Robyn's now. Empty chair, Christine's words sliced the silence. It's not finished, not even close? The judge stood. Tomorrow, this ceases to be civil. We begin full criminal prosecution for conspiracy, fraud, threats, and maybe something darker. But before the gavel could fall, the courtroom lights flickered, once, twice, and then the screen at the front sparked alive. Kody's face appeared, grinning, smug, unbroken, and beneath him, words that sent ice through the room. See you in session 10. This wasn't fear. This was defiance. Kody Brown wasn't running from justice. He was baiting it, manipulating it, bending it to his own game. The courthouse erupted as federal agents swept the judge's chambers, scanning every wire, every terminal. Cole Mercer muttered under his breath, "This isn't a man in flight. This is a man still in control." When Judge Harmon returned, her face was pale but resolute. From this moment forward, this is no longer state level. Kody Brown is classified as a domestic financial extremist. He will face charges of fraud, evasion, conspiracy. She took a breath. And cyber terrorism. A storm of voices broke loose. Christine and Janelle froze in disbelief. Meri seemed hollowed, as though every illusion she once clung to had finally died. The front doors opened again. Two men in dark suits entered, their badges flashing. U.S. Department of Justice. Judge Harmon, we're taking co-jurisdiction. Kody Brown's network ties him to flagged international syndicates. This case falls under racketeering, Christine whispered, horrified. He wasn't just escaping, he was building something. Cole nodded. The family drama was just the cover for his empire. The agents revealed intercepted dark web chats from an account traced back to him. The screen filled with Kody's words, when they destroy each other, I'll walk out clean. If they indict me, I leak. Let them drown in their own sin. He wasn't fleeing justice. He was staging a narrative, a martyr, a mastermind. And then the courtroom doors opened once more. Gasps broke out as a pale, exhausted woman entered, escorted by guards. Lena, the real Lena. And at her side, a boy, Caleb. She spoke simply, her voice breaking. I'll testify. I want this to end. Christine covered her mouth in shock. Meri whispered, she's real. Lena trembled as she told her truth. For years I ran. He always found me. He sent me letters, photos of Caleb. Once even a clump of his own hair. The note said, don't forget who the father is. The judge's face went pale. Do you have evidence? Lena nodded. It's in my car, but more than that, I remember everything. He said I was special, said Robyn would understand. Said Christine and Janelle were blind, said Meri would obey. He made me believe I was his future. Until the day he stopped calling me by name. Cole leaned forward. Did he use another identity with you? Her answer froze the entire room. Yes, David Luntz, and another, Jacob Sampson. That's who he really is. The court gasped. Kody wasn't gone. He was moving, shifting identities like masks, preparing for his next strike. And Lena's warning cut deepest of all. He told me, if they kill my reputation, I'll kill their peace. I won't use bullets. I'll use stories. Christine stood, her voice shaking. He's turned us into drama, into spectacle. That's his weapon. The judge's final words echoed like thunder. Tomorrow, we indict not just a man, but a strategist. If that lockbox is real, this case widens beyond anything we've prepared for. The tension inside the courtroom deepened when a young bailiff rushed forward with alarming news. "We found something in the basement," he reported, "an unlocked phone running a hotspot." The judge's eyes sharpened. "Connected to what?" The bailiff held up the device. On its screen, a paused video feed, courtroom footage, internal angles, live. The realization slammed the room silent. Kody wasn't just gone. He had been watching from inside all along. Cole grabbed the phone, scanning quickly, no location data. But then, another message appeared, typed in real time from an anonymous account. "Congratulations, you've upgraded me now. Let's see if you survive what comes next." Christine froze, color draining from her face. Janelle tried to form words, but only silence escaped. Meri clutched her necklace like it was a rosary. Lena whispered urgently to her son, "We have to go." But it was already too late. The lights flickered. The main courtroom screen snapped to black, then flickered back on. A single image appeared, a chessboard. All the queens toppled, only the king standing, and then a distorted mechanical voice echoed through the speakers. "Session 11 starts now. And I'm not the only one watching." The words rippled like ice water through every wall. What had begun as a family dispute had now grown into something monstrous, something mythic. This wasn't about Kody and his wives anymore. It was about power, narrative, and a shadow that refused to be contained. Within days, the courthouse had transformed into a war room. The FBI occupied the halls. The Secret Service installed firewalls and cyber barriers. Homeland Security branded Kody a Tier 2 uncontained domestic manipulator with extremist undertones, and the internet crowned him with a darker title, the last true patriarch. Kody no longer had quiet supporters. He had disciples, across burner accounts, encrypted forums, and shadow networks. His presence spread like wildfire. Pre-recorded videos appeared under the alias legacy of a silenced father. Each video portrayed Christine, Janelle, Meri, even Lena, as vindictive liars consumed by greed and vengeance. Calmly edited, delivered with Kody's signature icy charm, they rewrote the wives as villains, and disturbingly, the world began to believe him. Cole explained it best. "For every fact we expose, he releases a counter-story. This isn't just a manhunt, it's a contest to see whose story survives." Interpol pinged him at a border crossing under the alias Jacob Samuelson, but the trail went cold before boots could land. Meanwhile, his followers posted cryptic codes: Faye equals control, Faye J equals Judas, Fame equals mouthpiece, Faye equals liar. The initials weren't subtle, and the threats grew sharper. Christine's email hacked. Janelle's bank probed, Meri's home photographed by a drone. "This isn't hiding," a DOJ agent muttered. "This is retaliation." The judge locked down the court itself. No more live streams, no digital records, paper only. Yet, Kody was always a step ahead. A failed facial recognition attempt in Nicaragua, a whispered booking for a private island in the Bay Islands. Each time, he vanished again. Cole slammed his fist on the table. "He's not running. He's executing the plan." That was when Meri finally spoke. Quietly, like the words themselves burned. "No, this is exactly what he told us years ago. We just didn't believe him then." Christine snapped around. "Told us what?" Meri's eyes welled. "Plan Eden. He said if everything collapsed, he'd escape to a place where the jungle meets the sea, a garden no one could touch." Agents pulled records, and there it was. A deed purchased in 2019 under an alias, a secluded villa in Rotfan, solar-powered, accessible only by water. It was real. The judge issued the order. "Send a team quietly, No press, this ends now. But Kody struck first. A new video dropped, filmed against the ocean waves, his tone serene. They think I'm running, he said softly. I'm not. I'm building what they destroyed. They made me the villain because I refused to bow. I stood for family, the way a man is supposed to. And if they want war, I'll show them what peace looks like when stripped away from a man. Christine fled the room in tears. He's not running, she whispered outside. He's rewriting everything, even our memories. By nightfall, the federal warrant was raised to the highest level. Kody was to be captured alive, unless he resisted, but the next blow was already waiting. A lockbox in Utah revealed sealed letters, one for each wife. Not love letters, weapons. Christine's read, "You thought you saw through me, but you only saw what I allowed. You'll die, never knowing the difference. Janelle's, you were the strongest. That's why I shattered you first. Meri's, you're the last one standing. But standing for what? Psychological tombstones? Crafted to haunt?" And then, the most chilling piece, a postcard. No stamp, no return address. Slipped inside Lena's safe house mailbox. Just 5 words. Your son knows the truth. Lena's scream echoed through the halls. Agents swarmed. Nothing. No trace. No cameras. The dojo briefed the press. This is not a fugitive case anymore. This is a live cult collapse. But the question no one wanted to voice finally broke from Christine's lips. What if he wins? Cole answered, barely audible. Then history gets rewritten, and none of you come out the same. That night, agents deployed toward Rote Faden. Storm clouds bruised the sky. Waves battered their boats, but they pushed on and then, at 3:17 a.m., a new video detonated online. No title, no hashtags, just a shaky clip. The sea, the villa, the camera tipping sideways, footsteps, and a woman's voice, not Kody's, low, certain. They're here, right on time, just like he said, static. Black silence. By dawn, the Garden broadcast had gone viral, millions of views, dark web forums, ablaze, conspiracy threads multiplying like wildfire. And the question burned hotter than ever. Was Kody truly the mastermind, or just the beginning of something even darker? The courtroom was no longer just a chamber of law. It had become a battlefield of stories. Online hashtags swarmed like hornets. Number Kristen the cover-up, number Janelle the Judas, number wife Armalley's. Commenters screamed that Kody had been framed, that the government was hiding the truth, that the women were staging an elaborate setup. By the time Christine even stepped foot into the courthouse, she was already guilty in the court of public opinion. Cole's warning echoed. "Once this leaks, it spreads like a virus, and you can't control the shape it takes." Judge Harmon's gavel cracked down. "Adjourn for emergency session." Her voice cut sharp. "This is no longer just a legal case. We are facing a crisis of perception, and perception is now Kody Brown's deadliest weapon." Screens played viral clips across the courtroom wall. Janelle's testimony, spliced and edited, painted her as cold, manipulative, calculating. Christine's words, distorted until she sounded unhinged. Even Lena's interview was mangled, her face blurred, her voice slowed, to make her appear like a hired actress. Kody hadn't vanished. He had multiplied. Cole pressed play on Kody's newest release, filmed hours after the Villa broadcast. Dressed in a white linen shirt with the ocean as his backdrop, his tone was calm, deliberate. "They'll say I'm hiding, but I'm healing. They'll say I manipulated, but I only taught truth. They'll say I ran, but I walked away because I will no longer bow to liars, to systems, to people who forgot what loyalty was. But you remember, don't you?" The screen faded to black. No threats, no call to action, just effect. Christine whispered what they were all thinking. "This isn't just a man on the run. This is a cult in plain sight." And Cole confirmed grimly. And he's no longer the only voice. Others are speaking for him now. Reports spilled onto the judge's desk, women from Utah, Idaho, Colorado, all declaring themselves members of something new, the Covenant of the Garden. They were holding rallies, signing petitions, demanding Kody's exoneration. He's militarized belief, Janelle muttered. Meri finally lifted her head, voice trembling yet firm. He always said, if the world wouldn't listen to him, he'd give it someone louder to believe in. And I think we're listening to her now. The judge frowned. Her? Who? The woman in the villa video, Meri replied. It wasn't Robyn, it wasn't Lena. It's someone else. A new player, a shadow queen. That afternoon, Lena arrived under heavy guard, pale, shaken, but her eyes sharp as glass. That voice, she said softly. I heard it once years ago. She came to the house claiming to be a spiritual coach. Robyn invited her. Christine stiffened. Her name. Lena swallowed. She called herself Alara, but Kody called her the first spark. The judge froze mid-note. Cole confirmed. That name appears in Kody's encrypted files. Not financial, not legal, just one designation, failsafe. She's not just alive, she's operational, maybe even in charge. Right then, Aurora's secure burner buzzed. One text. No name, no number. He taught me everything. Now I will finish the garden, Lena gasped. It's her. Within hours, the internet erupted. A faceless woman, draped in white, began uploading cryptic sermons, her voice filtered, her face hidden, but her words chilling. They tried to bury the patriarch, but we live in soil. The wives poisoned the legacy. Now we purify it. The garden has no room for weeds. The first spark was no longer a rumor. She was a brand, a weapon, and the trial had mutated into an ideological war zone. Cole pulled Christine and Janelle aside, his voice low, urgent. There's something you don't know, something we found in the burned lockbox. He handed them a grainy photo. Alara, the first spark, standing beside Robyn, holding an infant. Kody lingered shirtless in the background, not smiling, just watching. Cole's voice hardened. We believe she bore his child too. That makes her more than a follower. She's legacy. The judge wasted no time. Effective immediately. We're expanding international warrants. Every tax shelter, every offshore account, every religious waiver exposed. This cult is no longer underground. Someone is funding him, keeping him alive, and we will find them. But the wives were done waiting. In her safe house, Meri stared at Kody's venomous letter. You were the last one standing, but standing for what? She opened her laptop and typed a raw, unfiltered blog post, her story in her words. If he wants a war of stories, she whispered, he'll get one. Christine uploaded her own video. Unpolished, trembling, tears streaking her cheeks. He didn't break me. He only showed me I was never standing beside him. I was living beneath him. And Janelle went live, her voice steady, fire in her chest. This is over. To every woman who thought being the good wife was the price for peace, no more. We are not your villains, we were your foundation. Slowly, painfully, the tide began to shift. The world started listening again, but at 3 a.m., another broadcast shattered the fragile hope. Not from Kody, not from the first spark. A live security feed from the Rote Faden Villa. The timestamp ticked across the screen. The door creaked open. A figure entered, tall, thin, clothed in white, wearing a mask. The camera froze as they leaned into the lens, lips moving slowly, clearly. Session 13 belongs to me now. Then static. Hours later, at 6:41 a.m., the courthouse doors opened. A woman walked in, frayed blue coat, steady eyes. No warning, no announcement. She carried a birth certificate, a DNA file, and a decades-old polygamist wedding photograph. The judge halted mid-sentence. Bring her forward. The woman stepped with quiet determination, each stride deliberate. State your name, the judge commanded. Her voice cut the silence. Savannah Eliza Brown. Gasps rippled like thunder. Christine's breath caught. Janelle stood instantly, her bones recognizing the name. Savannah? She whispered. Not my Savannah? The woman met her eyes. That was the name Kody gave me. I'm not the one you raised. I'm the one you never knew existed. She opened her satchel and placed an old photograph on the desk. Kody, 20 years younger, holding a baby beside a woman no one recognized. My mother was Naomi, Savannah said quietly. She died in 2010. Kody never visited, never paid, but he left this. A sealed letter, addressed to Christine or Janelle. Judge Harmon opened it, read a few lines and passed it on. Christine's hands shook as she read the words aloud. If you are reading this, Kody has already won again. You don't know me, he made sure of that, but we were married in a spiritual ceremony in 2002. He told me the family couldn't know, that it would unravel everything. He said secrecy was survival. Christine's voice broke as she looked up at the young woman. You're my sister-wife's daughter. Savannah nodded. Yes, and I'm here to finish what he started, or to end it. I've watched you from a distance my entire life, Savannah confessed, her voice trembling but steady. You were the voice I trusted more than my own mother. She told me if I ever came forward, I had to wait until the day everything collapsed. That day is now. Janelle stepped closer, eyes locked on Savannah. Why now? Because the first spark was my mother's closest friend, Savannah explained, and she was there when I was born. A silence fell over the courtroom. Cole immediately typed across his laptop. That verifies part of the network. Naomi and Alara weren't just followers, they were founders. Savannah reached into her satchel and placed a flash drive on the desk. This is my mother's diary. Every word, every vow, every promise Kody made her, and her fear especially of something he called the reclamation protocol. The judge froze mid. Note, I've never heard that phrase in any testimony before. Savannah lowered her gaze. Because it wasn't legal. It wasn't financial. It was spiritual. Cole pulled up the files, scrolling quickly through Naomi's words. Dates, names, events, and then the chilling pattern emerged. If any wife or child strays, the reclamation protocol is invoked. Psychological, financial, relational, and if necessary, divine punishment, Janelle gasped. He designed a doctrine of control. Christine stood rigid. He rewrote faith as punishment for disobedience. Savannah's words cut deeper. He said we were his garden, and if any vine grew wild, it had to be trimmed. The courtroom shuddered under the weight of realization. Kody wasn't just hoarding money, he was hiding sins behind a theology of control. The judge ordered Naomi's diary fully replicated and verified. Cole confirmed the metadata. These entries go back 20 years. This fills in the missing decade, the time between the show's launch and Kody's rise as a public figure. This was when he cleaned his narrative. But Savannah wasn't finished. She pulled up one last piece of evidence, a voicemail, the final message Kody left before Naomi died. The speakers crackled. Kody's voice echoed through the courtroom. Naomi, I can't do this anymore. I tried to make you part of the story, but they'll never accept you. Christine's asking too many questions. Janelle won't bend, Meri's collapsing. Robyn will always be true. But you were genuine, and that's the problem. You remind me of the parts of me I buried, the pain I can't face. I can't look at you anymore, or at her. I'm sorry, just disappear. Meri pressed her eyes shut. Christine broke into muffled sobs. Janelle gripped the bench so tightly. Her knuckles turned white. The judge leaned forward. "Where have you been all this time?" "Waiting," Savannah replied simply. "My mother told me everything would fall apart, that when it did, I'd be the only one left who could recall the truth without anger. I didn't understand then, but I do now. You were his wives, she was his mirror." Cole exhaled sharply. She might be the only woman who ever looked at him without filters. He scanned another file from Naomi's drive, labeled a Lara meeting log. The entry detailed a gathering in 2013. Naomi, Alara, Kody, and two unnamed women. One phrase leapt from the text. "The first spark must be planted when the wives turn against each other. When the war begins, she will bear the message, not of submission, but of replacement." Christine's eyes widened. She wasn't just a supporter. She was the succession plan. The judge leaned back, visibly shaken. "So this trial isn't the collapse of a marriage, it's the unveiling of a religious succession plan disguised as one." Cole nodded grimly. "Which means the trial isn't the end, it's the trigger." Outside, protests erupted. Supporters of the garden flooding the streets, clutching signs and chanting. Inside, security doubled. The wives weren't witnesses anymore, they were targets. Then an unmarked box arrived, sealed with the garden's twisted tree symbol. No badge, no sender, just a single flower inside and a slip of paper. The judge unfolded it slowly. "She's arrived. The vine has bloomed." All eyes turned toward Savannah, but she shook her head. "There's no one else. My mother never had another child." Cole caught something hidden at the bottom of the box. A hospital bracelet, a newborn's name, different mother, same father, same blood type, same year, Christine whispered. "Another child," Janelle whispered. "Another wife," Meri whispered. "Another war." Savannah staggered backward, her face breaking. "She lied to me." The judge immediately ordered a lockdown. Cole's eyes stayed glued to the files. If this is true, Kody didn't just build a cult. He built a bloodline, and someone somewhere is waiting to rise. The courtroom's air turned poisonous. Every glance carried betrayal. Every silence felt like a countdown. Savannah's return had cracked the foundation, and now the possibility of another hidden child threatened to blow everything apart. When the gavel struck again, Judge Harmon's voice was cold as steel. "We have entered the criminal trial stage. From this day forward, testimonies will decide who is sentenced and who walks free. This is no longer about Kody Brown. This is about every single person who helped him build the garden." Cole Mercer stood beside the glowing laptop screen, his voice sharp, clipped with urgency. "In the last 72 hours, the dojo has frozen 14 offshore accounts, traced over 500 wire transfers funneled into so-called religious consulting firms, and uncovered 6 women designated as spiritual seed carriers, code words for wives never legally recorded, but promised inheritance." The screen filled with names: Naomi, Robyn, Alara, Judith, missing since 2017, and 2 entries known only by initials, A and LJ. Christine shot upright. "LJ, I remember that name. Leah Jenkins. Kody told me she was a cousin. I saw her at a family gathering once. She was holding Solomon." Janelle's eyes narrowed. "Judith? I know that name too. She was at Robyn's wedding rehearsal, and then gone." The judge leaned forward. "And you never reported this?" Christine's throat tightened. "Because Kody warned us. He said curiosity was rebellion, and rebellion destroyed families. It wasn't silence that bound them. It was obedience, disguised as loyalty.